So we're gonna have a little discussion here about cancel culture, um, and how some of you people really need to just get a grip because this isn't the way. Trust me. Okay. So I'll start off by saying I was going to go to this cause. My ex Vino, that I dated for 5 years, was going to be running this event for charity that assisted mutual aid and helped build funds. And mind you, these funds could be used for stuff like getting an alderman elected, helping Gowdy School Elementary, all kinds of stuff like, running homeless food drives, protest. They're just trying to essentially help the community do better. And within that includes trans people, people of color, the disabled, everybody. So, first of all, this event was to help y'all in the first place. They basically tried to get me removed from an event that I was bringing my musical equipment and PA system to for them to use for their numbers. So over the last few years, I watched Vino help this organization with his own resources. He would, drive people around, use his own money, his own resources. I mean, he would spend up to 20, sometimes even 40 hours a week just on doing extra stuff out of the kindness of his own heart for this organization. And they basically all backed off on him and backed down on him and stopped supporting him based on a hearsay, because he supported me when these drag queens tried to come for me. I don't have an affiliation in politics anymore, simply for the fact that a lot of stuff has lost its context through media and heated arguments over the past few years. Some people still think I'm problematic. To those I say, I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, why would I say I am? I don't know. It's just the way I am, shady. However, I want you to know I've been on a quest for the last few years to be better and do better. By putting me in that box, you really aren't allowing me to grow at all. You're keeping me pretty stationary. I don't think canceling someone is the way to go unless they've actually murdered someone or actively taking the rights away from someone. People have tried to cancel me based on a hearsay and never actually took the time to get to know me as a person, or know that I take people into my home on my own dollar, give them experiences that they would never have otherwise, and I truly get more out of that than just giving them money or donating to a self-made GoFundMe. People truly appreciate a friendship they wouldn't otherwise have. They truly appreciate when you see them when no one else will. A lot of club promoters in Queens and Chicago, they've just gotten too used to making me a poster child for their narrative because I'm white passing and I had a father who was in law enforcement. And they pass up the fact that I'm more than just the skin color. I also have a mother who's an immigrant from Colombia. I am autistic. I had to type this stuff out that I'm saying because I don't always articulate things well. I am bisexual. I'm a lover of all people who are misfits, weird, disabled, not part of the majority. And let me be the first to tell you that a lot of these cancel-happy club people will not go out of their way to hang out with the less fortunate or be seen with them unless they're getting something out of that. They need to record it for their TikTok, or they're not going to hang out with them in the club and, actually make a real lasting friendship with them. And for me, those are the exact types of people that I do make friendships with. Yet they're just really painting me as this person who's so closed-minded and stuff. Maybe the speech is narcissistic, but, I was simply going there to help and perform and donate my time and equipment to a cause, and I just need to clear the air so I can put my best love energy forward. I really wish people would stop trying to bring me down. I don't have malicious intentions towards anyone. I'm only petty towards people who come for me before getting to know me. So, if you've got something to say, come up and speak it. Like, don't scream at me. I'm ready to admit whatever I've done. You think if I've done it, I know I wasn't always the best person when it came to being PC, but I've never harmed anyone sexually, violently, or just started saying mean things out of the blue. Everything I've ever said has been provoked as a result of me being bullied into this narrative. And what people don't realize is when you bully people into a narrative and you aren't allowing them to grow, there's something problematic about that, because how do you know you're not pushing that person into a state of depression, self-depreciation, and suicide when they were just trying to help? It's immature to do that to people when they're perfectly willing to have a healthy conversation about it, learn, listen, and grow. So I'll tell you that this Mercy Me drag queen, I did message them. I think that's their pronouns, and I tried to be like, hey, give me the benefit of the doubt. And yeah, I came off a little bit of aggressive at first, but I also said I'm willing to assume you're a better person than this if you're willing to give me the benefit of the doubt. Instead of, trying to have a dialogue and figure out what was going on, they just assumed the worst. They messaged my ex and said it's going to be an us or him situation. And my ex was like, well, I'm sorry, I guess it's going to be him. We were together for 5 years, and I know Derek, he's a good person. And then, of course, they just kept, just the fact that they were doing that, and not having a dialogue with me, provoked me further. So of course I made a oppression starter pack kit that said, I had a picture of one of them saying, you're too binary to be within 15 feet of a bar. Because legitimately, that's how it is. They really don't want anybody too binary. Their applause will always be less loud for a binary performer than it will be for a trans person. It's like they just don't. If you aren't in that identity, you're just not a person to them. That's kind of how I'm starting to feel about it. And I want to say, what would it take, for us to become the human race instead of us being against us all the time? Would aliens from outer space have to invade? Does anyone realize most people in the White House are corrupt? There isn't really such a thing as a clean president, because every decision they make is going to have a consequence somewhere. And of course, there are issues I won't budge on. I need my abortion rights, my gay marriage, trans rights. And if you believe Kyle Rittenhouse was in self-defense, just get the fuck out of my face. But on most fiscal stuff and in-between matters, I'll still open a dialogue even with people from another political spectrum than myself. I'll start. I feel bullied by the club scene in Chicago. If you want to speak up, just message me, talk to me, whatever, Don't ramble, because I'm not going to process that information as fast. And to be honest, I've had friends die of fentanyl overdoses this year, and I just kind of have been more worried about stuff like that than all this trans bullshit. Life's too short, and you're just bringing up stress for no reason. This event could have been so beautiful had you not done this. It was a charity. My ex was putting all his love into this event for you guys, and you just shit on it. It's so disconcerting. If someone's trying, you should really just let it be enough for now. You're not your worst televised moment in a loop unless you refuse to reconcile consequences that cause someone unnecessary wrongful death. You can have a sharp opinion, but use pronouns. We're not invited to every conversation. This ain't a radio station. You shouldn't single anyone else out. Comedy can bring up stereotypes because we all enjoy laughing at ourselves and being represented. Comedy is a love language, not a purposeful trigger. We all need to be one people. Extremists of any affiliation, left or right, can be toxic. An affiliation often makes one label before knowing what they truly believe to be the definition of equality. We shouldn't jump to conclusions. We should navigate these emotions and ask yourself, is a loud reaction warranted or insecure projections taught to you by media? Ask yourself if your loud reaction is warranted. Is it surrounding environment, past experiences, trauma? If there's no dialogue, there will be no solution. And I refuse to be perfect, but I'll always grow. Again, they try to shut me down because they called me a sexual harasser and problematic because I was messaging people on Scruff in Chicago, who some of them would lead me on for like months at a time, and then they would just really, honestly, they were provoking that, because it's like you can only everyone has their breaking point. If you keep wasting my time, eventually I'm gonna snap. And that's not sexual harassment. There's people need to learn the definitions of things. Sexual harassment would be me like implying that they have to have sex with me, they have no choice, or seeing them in person and touching them without consent. Nothing like that ever happened. It was more of like, you're a white muscle twat and you're flaky and you only sleep with people who look like you, and I'm just pointing that out. I don't really think that's sexual harassment. And there's nothing transphobic about me defending myself when people try to shit on my name and push me into this narrative that pushes me into depression. I have every right to defend myself, just like you do. And just because somebody is trans doesn't make them right. We really need to stop focusing on identity. And if you're really an equal person, you should believe that trans people are just as capable as making the same mistakes as we are. You can't just put them on a pedestal and treat them like they're God, because that's actually unequal. It's more equal to really believe that they're capable of making mistakes just like us. I mean, this idea that they're just they set the tone for everything, and we just have to bow down and adapt to every single little thing. It's like, no, like, fine, get your bathrooms, your discrimination law is great. Like, I want that too for me. But you don't get to just shut everything down and cry to your mama when things don't go your way. Grow up. Suck on my asshole, bitch.